We are up to the main event from Star Navigation, September 14th, 2024. I'm Adam Lavelle, the wrestling snob of WrestlingDoneRight.com, the Noah Network, Mount Ararat podcast. That main event was not for the GHC Championship, but it did have the GHC champion in there, Kaito Kiyomiya, taking on Ryohei Oiwa. Oiwa is most likely headed back to New Japan, which is where he came from. He did, you can't really call it an excursion, but he came on over to Noah to be more trained, to be more prepared for his time in the New Japan ring, which makes sense. You know, let's teach him the Noah style, and then we can bring him over here and teach him the strong style that we have, even more than he's already been taught in the dojo there. So Oiwa has spent the past year in pro wrestling Noah, and he's looked really solid. It started out with him pretty much working together with Kaito Kiyomiya. They seem to possibly be heading for the tag team championship, the GHC heavyweight tag team titles, but that sort of dissolved when Kiyomiya decided to go back after and obtain the GHC heavyweight championship. So in a way, I kind of expected this match to be for the title, but it was not. Not the end of the world, but might have added a little bit to it. This match started out, I mean, the whole match was slow-paced, and if you know me, you know I have no problem with that. I kind of prefer slow-paced matches. I don't like video game-paced matches. You know, I don't like matches that look like they're like the fast-forward button was hit on the remote control. That's not my thing. So I have no problem with that. But I did gripe a little bit on Twitter that the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of this, the majority of it was spent outside the ring. I'm like, come on, this is not a Minoru Suzuki match. You know, I'm not a big fan of outside the ring, especially between two guys that I don't think they hate each other. I don't think there's, especially when you saw the end of this match, I guess the argument is that the spirit of victory, that the desire to win overcame them, and they were willing to do anything and go anywhere. Not the end of the world. It's not ruin this match in any way whatsoever, but I watch wrestling to see a match fought inside the squared circle, not out on the arena floor. Yeah, that might be funny coming from someone from a fan of Bruiser Brody, but neither of these two guys are Bruiser Brody, right? No offense to them by saying that, but they're not. They're classic in-ring, solid, well-working wrestlers. And when they got back in the ring, to me, this thing got a hell of a lot more entertaining and fun to watch. Both of them, like I said, were very spirited, and they weren't wrestling other than when they were outside the ring, like they wanted to hurt each other. But there was a spot where Oiwa got a deep-seated armbar on Kiyomiya that looked like he was trying to ruin his career, looked like he wanted to pull it out of the socket. But Kiyomiya escapes and gets a couple aerial moves, including his big top rope drop kick, and at this point in the match, it's about the halfway point. At this point, both of them are exhausted, and at one point spend a minute or two just both laying on the mat. Oiwa storms back and delivers a big elbow drop, a leaping elbow drop just from the mat, and then that falling body slam that he does, not body slam, but the body press that he does, where he just walks up to his opponent, outstretches his arms, and falls on top of him. Tries to go for the Dr. Bomb, does not work. Kiyomiya gets another top rope opportunity, but if you noticed, he hits him in the leg. He jumps off the top rope and stomps Oiwa in the leg, setting up the figure four. Look, I'm a big fan of the figure four, just like I said earlier. I was a big fan of Tadasuke's spinning toe hold. I love these old school moves, and Kiyomiya puts them on greatly, but Oiwa does get the ropes and break it up. Hits a big drop kick and sets Kiyomiya up for a top rope gut wrench suplex that looked incredible and did lots of damage. Kiyomiya, though, does respond with his first Shining Wizard and finishes that up with a German suplex where he does not release it and doesn't get the pin, but comes back with a running Shining Wizard and tries to get that top rope Shining Wizard that he does, where he sort of leaps off of the top rope, sort of like a spring. But Oiwa saw it coming and hit him with a drop kick, and it got back to Oiwa's advantage, and where he hits a German suplex, a non-release German suplex, but does not get the pin on Kiyomiya. And that's how this match was. I mean, both of these guys just going at each other, balls to the wall, nonstop, but both of them having the power, having the spirit, having the fighting spirit to being able to kick out. Oiwa finally does hit his doctor bomb, followed by another non-release German suplex, and that does not do it. It does not get the win for him. And I think that sort of blew Oiwa's mind. I sort of think that took him out of the game. Whenever that doctor bomb followed by a non-release German suplex does not get him the victory, he sort of lost it there. I'm not saying he snapped or anything, but I think that's where he lost the match, because it was soon after that I don't know what, I think this was a Gibson lock that Kiyomiya wins with. It's sort of like you look like you're going for like a scorpion lock, and instead you bridge backwards, holding the legs in a sort of a reverse upside down figure 4 position. I think it's called the Gibson lock, if I remember correctly. Robert Gibson used to do it. His brother used to do it way back in the day here in the States. And that is what got Kiyomiya the win. It is a great move. If done correctly, it is an amazing move that legitimately looks impossible to escape from. And it was here. Kiyomiya wins it. And then they have a big heart. He and Oiwa have a big heart-to-heart, the hug fest, the handshake, and Kiyomiya pays him all the respect and tells him how he'll always be part of Noah. And I'm not making fun of it. I'm just telling you what it was, kind of typical thing, but it was interesting. And it was interrupted by none other than Masa Kitamiya. Masa Kitamiya on the European tour, which we can't see yet. It's not going on Wrestle Universe for another week or two. Comes out to reinforce something that happened on the European tour, and telling Kiyomiya he is the next challenger for that title. Kiyomiya sort of nods and says, "Hey, read the room, pal." That's the interpretation of what he said. Read the room, Kiyomiya. This is not the time to come out and reiterate your challenge for this title. We're saying goodbye to Oiwa here, so can you please leave and get out of our faces and let us go on with what we're doing? And the hug fest continues, and the congratulations, and they pose together. I mean, this is cool. If Oiwa goes on to be a big star in New Japan and Kiyomiya remains on the track he's on, and one day they face off again or they team together or something, the IWGP champion and the GHC heavyweight champion, that's a good thing. That's a cool thing. That'll be something fun to see, even though I just think Noah's better than all of them. I prefer their style much, much better, but I have no problem with some historic things like that happening. Will this be a historic match? Well, we'll see where Oiwa goes, and it could be something that'll be looked back on fondly for many years to come until they meet again.